Hey, I'm Jenny,
And I'm Hillary, and you can call us,
the Garden Tarts.
kissing lips and breaking hearts.
We have been bestest friends for over 25 years, and we love to talk you too.
We've had some super ridiculous adventures, and now this podcast, which is pretty much all opinion with a handful of facts thrown in.
Why a U2 podcast? Because as much as we love talking U2, we know you do too.
So sit down, grab a drink, and find us on Instagram and Twitter so we can chat. Well, welcome everyone. We have 3 new shows to discuss since our last podcast.
Yeah, some big shows.
Big shows. You two have been still in Australia, Adelaide, and 2 shows in Sydney.
Yes, and those Sydney shows were huge.
Huge.
So, but we should touch on Adelaide a little bit first.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Let's see, that was November 19th.
Yes. So the Adelaide show was pretty much the same show that's been going on. There weren't a whole lot of changes. The only changes that I guess I see, Bono snipped in Hallelujah to Running a Standstill, and
Which
this
is one of my
fascinating.
favorite ways to end that song.
I love it.
It drives me crazy when he does not do that.
Right. The other thing is he snipped Sunday Bloody Sunday into Angel of Harlem.
Yeah, I swear I listened to the show. And I don't remember hearing that, so I need to go back.
That was weird.
Totally weird.
Really weird.
My guess is it worked.
I guess so. The other thing that was addressed during the show was that Australia has had really horrible wildfires going on recently, and Bono praised the firefighters and just said how extraordinary they are, and the volunteers that have been helping try to put out the fire. And so during one, Bono asked to turn the lights off and sing in the dark for
Yeah, he actually
those
has been
responders.
praising them all through the Australian shows so far, but they had just met many of them, like 100 of them earlier in the day.
There's
So it
a
was a more
photo
specific.
by the plane, I guess, when they landed.
The Australian plane that was supposed to take the firefighters to the fires was parked next to U2's plane. And they happened to all be boarding at the same time. So they were like, yo, let's hang out. The band really wanted to honor them and thank them and say hello and shake their hand and take pictures. But you know what was big about this show that I forgot about is that they took out Bad.
Oh, yeah.
Bad isn't in here. And I had heard from some source on Twitter that the band got started late, I think because they took off late with their plane. And so there was a curfew and they had to cut something. And because they had just started adding I Will Follow, I guess they decided to take out Bad, which
Right.
I guess it's a pretty long song. So it cuts a lot of time easily. But that felt like a big omission to me.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Big omission. But other than that, it was a great show. And I don't know if there's much else to mention compared to the other shows.
No, I don't. I think we covered everything.
Yeah. I'd really like to move on to the Sydney shows, if that's okay.
Absolutely. I'm ready to go.
Because these, I know for you too, these really hung heavy on our heart. So the first Sydney show was November 22nd, 2019, which is 22 years to the day of which Michael Hutchence died in Sydney. And if you are in the U2 fandom, you probably know that Bono and Michael Hutchence were very, very, very close friends.
Michael Hutchence, the lead singer of INXS, in
INXS.
case you have no idea, but
Yeah.
I cannot imagine any scenario where someone's listening that doesn't know that.
Exactly. And what's pretty unique for Hillary and I is that Michael passed away on November 22nd, 1997. We were at the U2 show November 23rd, 1997. So we were witnesses and just completely part of that entire raw grieving process from the stage and off, because that was back in the days when it was easy to talk to the band.
Yes. Bono
After
was our
shows.
therapy friend.
He was definitely our therapy friend. I might like to think that we were kind of his therapy friends.
I think
too.
it actually works more in that direction. We
Yeah.
were more his therapy friend.
Yeah, it kind of went on for a few days. But so I was really worried about him for these Sydney shows. But it was really amazing.
Amazing.
But I was going back to that really raw emotion that we witnessed and felt in
It was,
97. And this
it
is
was,
obviously 2 decades later.
right. It was really almost scary, the level of grief that was in the dome, just everywhere. We all felt it.
We did. It
It
was
was
in,
a huge loss, I mean, to all of us, but just to watch Bono that
yeah,
distraught was rough.
it was in San Antonio, Texas. I just ironically, I came across my notes from that night. I never took notes or journal entries during PopMart, and I have like an entire like drafted email. It's 10 pages long.
It's amazing.
I can't, it was really hard to read, and I felt like I needed a therapist afterwards.
I did too. I felt like that.
I know I sent it to you.
I was kind of in a daze for at
Yeah.
least a day.
I mean, I like the highlights are before Gone, Bono started yelling his name. And after Even Better Than the Real Thing, he sang Waltzing Matilda, which is an Australian folk song. In the middle of Last One on Earth, he sang Never Tear Us Apart. He asked us to sing All I Want Is You for Michael. And then, oh, I don't even want to talk about the weight and the heaviness in the air after that song. There was more Waltzing Matilda. Oh, I'm sure there's more at the very end. I forget what song they played at the end of the show, like when the lights came on and the PA music came back on, but they played Never Tear Us Apart,
Hmm.
which is a very popular INXS song.
Yes.
And I think we just all stood there and cried.
Cried and cried. It was, yeah, it was uncomfortable, scary emotion, kind of. But looking back, I mean, it's amazing that we all shared that.
We did. We really did. And we were fortunate to have rail spots by the B stage.
To obtain real spots by the B stage.
Yes. Well, we were
Hmm.
fortunate to be standing there. I didn't say how we
Yes.
got there.
No, no. We can't say that. There's certain tricks of the trade which we can never
Reveal.
tell. Sorry.
We were literally right there with them, and he allowed us to be there with him.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
But then looking at the first Sydney show, oh, did you have a chance to listen to that version of Bad where he
Yeah, I
sang
did.
it
Yes.
was he added a really long snippet of Never Tear Us Apart in a completely different time signature than the original song. And it
Right.
was just so gorgeous. So gorgeous.
Absolutely
And such
gorgeous. I loved it.
a perfect tribute. It was so amazing. And during Vertigo, he did Devil Inside, which he's been doing a little bit,
Yeah.
which is another INXS song.
But the biggie,
The biggie was during the encore,
before
in
one.
before one, instead of Love is Bigger Than Anything in Its Way, they did Stuck in a Moment You Can't Get Out of with just beautiful video and pictures of Michael Hutchence on the screen behind them. That song is
Beautiful.
specifically written about and for Michael Hutchence. Bono said that he's like, I'm not sure if this is an argument with him or with myself,
Right.
which is probably a little bit of both
Hmm.
because it's never one thing.
No, it's never.
But
Um,
I didn't get to listen to it live, but all the emotion was there. There was so much build up to the show, and people were like, oh, it's going to be hard, it's going to be emotional, it's going to be all these things. But I think it was a beautiful night.
Beautiful.
And I think it rained,
It did rain
which
because
is even better.
yeah, he sang Singing in the Rain and Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head.
He sang like a full version of Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head.
Yeah,
This was not a snippet.
it's a cappella.
If friends, fans, and listeners, if you have not heard this, look it up because it is adorable
Yeah,
and beautiful. He
yes.
sings it really well, really, really
Yeah,
well.
I can't even imagine being at that show, just the weight of it all. To be in Sydney on that date, 22 years later.
It's crazy.
Crazy. This is the thing, and I hate to get too sad about it, but I mean, look, 22 years ago, Michael Hutchence and his career ended, and look how far, look what's happened in Bono's life in that 22 years.
Yeah, between Pop Mart and now,
Everything.
everything. Jinx.
It's just, I don't know, it's just such a tragedy that seems kind of pointless, but I've never been stuck in a moment, so I don't know.
Me neither. I read a quote from Bono recently and he was talking about it and he was saying how, he's always had a problem with suicide because, why can't you just get past just 30 more
Right,
minutes? If he just waited 30 more minutes, would he have come out of it?
right. It's just a moment, this time will pass.
Yeah. Except it's not that simple.
No. Oh, absolutely not. It just, I think if
Yeah.
you haven't been there, then it seems, to me, it seems pretty simple because I've just never been in a place like that. But
Right.
obviously, that it's not
Right. So, oh, that's so heavy.
so heavy. What are you drinking, by the way?
Oh my gosh, we haven't even gotten into the important things. This is the end of my Jameson Black Barrel. I just poured the whole thing in there.
Yeah.
It's not actually that much. And then I
Well,
have a side of water because I'm a little off today.
yeah.
So
You need
it's
to stay
good.
hydrated for our podcasting. It's a whole lot of energy
I
involved.
know. Really makes me thirsty.
Yeah.
What
But
are you
I'm
drinking?
drinking peach cello again.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Kenny Chesney.
No, that was the key lime. This is like limoncello, but peach.
Okay.
And it made me really hot last time I drank it, which tonight should be good because I don't know what my deal is, but I am freezing and it's not that cold.
Oh, it's cold here, so maybe it's vicariously
Yeah, maybe I feel the cold from our
from Northeast
Skype
Ohio.
video. Yeah.
It's coming through.
Yeah, it's it's coming through with this video and the sound is just cold. Like crazy cold in here. I don't understand it because I don't feel like it's that cold outside.
You're
It's
fine,
it's probably me.
probably, usually. Well,
So
I've always known you to be cold.
I'm always cold. Well, though lately when I drink a lot, I get really hot. Last night was cold and rainy, and I had several glasses of wine, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm dying. It's so hot.
Oh, wine makes me like toasty.
Yeah. Holy crap, I was so hot last night, and everyone else is like freezing, and I'm like, no, but I'm always cold. Okay, should we move on to the
Oh, the second Sydney show,
second Sydney show?
which I kind of want to compare it to, I can't compare it to, but so we had two shows in 97.
Hmm.
We had San Antonio on the 23rd, and then I believe the 26th was in Atlanta, which while the emotion was not so raw, there was still a lot of Michael Hutchence there.
Yeah.
But if we talk about Sydney, he sang Waltzing Matilda. He snipped it during Bad, which, oh my gosh, I looked it up. He had snipped it other times in Australia,
Hmm.
but I think the only other time in the US was at that San Antonio show.
Right. Yeah, it says that Waltzing Matilda has only been snipped 5 times ever.
And I bet you they other times were mostly all
There, yeah,
Australia, other than San Antonio, Texas.
right. So the Bono snipped Many Rivers to Cross by Jimmy Cliff.
Yes.
And I think the big thing on the set list is that instead of Angel of Harlem, they put Desire in the last spot of the main set.
Yeah, we love those harmonica songs.
Yeah. And Desire, though, he snipped Sunday Bloody Sunday again, which
What the what?
we already heard
We
it.
we gotta go listen to this.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, I bet you it makes sense if you hear it.
Maybe. I don't know.
And they did Stuck in a Moment again. And then they ended with one but snipped in Invisible, which is also new. Again,
But
I'm sorry to say I hadn't listened to that show completely. I need to
I
look
read
it up.
a lot of notes. But so yeah, it was Desire's tour debut, and Bono snipped I Love Rock and Roll before Even Better Than the Real Thing, which is kind of
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
Hey there, listeners. If you're a U2 fan, you are more than likely aware of the work that Bono has done and continues to do in Africa. It's amazing work, and the exciting thing is you can get involved too. There are two simple ways. 1. Go to one.org and sign up to fight against extreme poverty. 2. Visit red.org to shop. What? Shopping helps? It sure does. By purchasing Red branded products, you are contributing to the Global Fund, which supports HIV/AIDS grants in many African countries. As your man says, where you live should not decide whether you live or whether you die. So head on over to one.org and red.org to join the Garden Tarts in doing our part to end AIDS. So I have some notes from that Atlanta show in 1997
Mm-hmm.
that also pertained to Michael Hutchence. Before one, he says, "Someone has left our church. Some of us knew him, some of us didn't, but we all know he was a great man. Michael Hutchence, we miss you." And he sings Sisters and then My Brother instead
Mm.
of Sisters, Brothers. At the end of the show, the band started to walk off stage, and then something started happening, and they started playing 40, which was not part of the original
Yeah.
set list. I don't know where we heard this, but we had been told, we learned later that it was at that moment that they were putting Michael into the ground.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I feel like we must have heard it from a reliable source.
Yeah,
It could be a huge lie,
it could be.
but I have it written down in my 1997 email diary. And then the PA played Never Tear Us Apart Again.
So we went to walk up front then, right?
We did. We tried really hard, and some of
Yeah.
us got up and some of us didn't. We tried to get up along the rail because those were stadium shows, but it was all seated. It wasn't general admission.
Mm-mm.
So we were at the rail and kind of had our own little path.
Yes.
So I definitely didn't make it up, but I think most of us made it at least about halfway up closer.
Yeah, I don't think I made it up either. I think I was with you.
Yeah.
Does the note say that? Because my memory of that is being like half in the middle row, but like halfway.
Oh, here's what I have written down. This is from Atlanta. I said at the beginning of one, we all bolt and try to make it up to the main stage. One of us got up there, but you, me, and someone else, we made it about halfway. One of our friends had a pass,
Right.
so people did not question her, but we got stuck. But again, it sounds like the second show in Sydney was just amazing. He's still wearing his good tushy pants,
Oh, that's good.
but the mullet's peeking out.
I saw that. That's upsetting. Come on. Can't you get it all going on at the same time?
It just needs a little trim.
Yeah.
So we got to ask Bono some questions over whiskey and cake about
Definitely.
these Sydney shows.
I feel like it's a lot of heavy stuff, so we should ask some questions.
Yeah. Do you have one?
I do have one. It's heavy.
Okay, let's hear it.
So, why did you snip Sunday Bloody Sunday into Angel of Harlem and Desire? Did you forget you already played the song? That's just weird.
Is that a question or a statement?
It's
I
a
guess you start
question
with
because I
why.
want to know why, but I didn't want him to think that it was something normal to do. So I just needed to add, that's just weird. That's
Yeah.
my question for reals.
Oh my gosh. I was going to ask a really heavy question, and I would ask Bono over whiskey and cake if he remembers those shows in 97 as vividly as we do. I think he might.
I think he might. And I guess my follow-up question would be, do you remember us being there for you?
I think we have proof that he does.
Yeah, I think so too.
So,
Yeah, so you got heavy and I got even more heavy.
I love it.
So I was at this party last night and I was talking to an old friend who I don't see very often. And somehow we got to talking about health insurance because what else do you talk about? I don't know. But so he said that a relative of his, he does something with economics. I did not go to I should have gone there, but I did not go to the question I should have gone to. But his relative does something in economics in Africa. He lives here, but he goes to Africa all the time because he does something with economics, which we should have then at that point asked the question, hey, does he know Bono? I figured that would go well, but for some reason I didn't ask him. But he said that his relative got really sick and ended up having to go to the hospital. And they told him he wanted to go home, and they told him you're too sick to leave. And my friend said my theory on that is if you're too sick to leave the hospital in Africa, you're too sick to be in a hospital in Africa. And I
Oh,
said
that's
to
kind
him,
of sad but
it
true.
is. But when he said it, I said right then, I
Yeah.
have to figure out how to work that into something. I like stopped him right away and I'm like, I'm gonna use that for something. I don't know what it's gonna be yet,
Hold
but
on
I'm
to
gonna
it.
use
This is
that for
just a
something.
trial run right here.
Yeah.
So I was at earlier in the week, I was at Panera waiting for my kids to finish something. And this group of people sat down at a table next to me. They like brought tables together, and you could tell this was kind of businessy, maybe like an interview of sorts. But I kept hearing words like Australia and Africa, and there was something else that made me go, "What?" there, there might have even been something about healthcare. Were we together? Were you at that table?
I don't think so. I haven't
Panera
been to
and
Panera in
Cleveland.
a while. But last week I
I was
did
like, do
talk.
they know Bono?
Right? I feel
I
like we had a
totally forgot
similar.
about that.
So also this week, a weird thing like that, which I didn't think about until now, but there's a restaurant next door to my office in Hampton, and it's called Mr. Kebab.
Yeah.
And so I went in there because I didn't have lunch and I wasn't sure what I wanted, but I just wanted to stand in there and look at the menu. For some reason, it seemed like I'd come up with something faster than looking at the menu online next door.
You're trying
So
to
I
find
go
some
in.
inspiration.
The what?
You're trying to find some inspiration.
Yeah, I needed some inspiration. I did not really get any, but I know what I'm gonna order next time. Anyway, Mr. Kebab, I started talking to Mr. Kebab, who is from Egypt, and he was telling me about living in all these different places or whatever that he's lived in the US obviously, but he spent most of his life in England. And he was just talking about the way that the people are in the US versus how people are like everywhere else in the world. And for some reason, his examples were Australia and New Zealand. But the way he pronounced New Zealand was really weird. But it
Yeah.
was like, this is all that's been in my head for like 2 weeks now. So I'm just like, he's like talking about America and how it's not such a great place and whatever. And I'm like, I agree with that. But then my head is like, oh, I wonder what they're going to play tonight.
Were you like, do you know Bono?
Right? You just, all roads. Hey, Mr.
All right.
Kebab. You know Bono? Mr. Kebab. I feel like Mr. Kebab, that is a possibility. He just seemed
Yeah.
really worldly and it was really interesting. Anyway, I'm gonna go back this week and get lunch, but I also spent like a friggin' hour in there talking to him where I'm just like, I'm hungry. You come to my office, Mr. Kebab.
Right? Bring me some lunch. You've got food.
And he also said, which was weird, I walked in and he right away was like, you don't eat meat. And I'm like, what?
You're like,
I
that
just,
is true, but
but how the heck did you just get there? Because I look like I eat meat. I just don't eat meat.
you have that meaty glow about you. What is
No, but he said the minute I walked in and I'm like, Mr. Kebab, how are you all knowing?
Because he knows Bono.
Yeah.
So I was just looking at, I haven't looked at the set list from that San Antonio show in 1997 in a while. And during discotheque, wait, one, two, three, five snippets of song. So it was either the longest version of discotheque ever or the least discotheque discotheque
Right?
of all time. Listen, it was Lady Marmalade, Love to Love You Baby, Take Your Partner by the Hand, Need You Tonight, INXS, and Staying Alive.
Take your partner by the hand. That's a,
I
huh?
don't know. Apparently he was all over the place. Oh, look at this. He also did a snippet of MLK during Staring at the Sun. Hey, we're gonna have an entire PopMart ep.
Yeah, so these are just little teasers.
Yeah, because we got really fun PopMart stuff.
Yeah, you have no idea. You couldn't even imagine.
How much can we tell them?
I don't know. We might have to have a planning sesh
Yeah.
to decide what we can tell and what we can't tell.
Ha 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 ha
You
ha.
will laugh. You have no idea. We're mysterious, mysterious.
Mysterious, mysterious.
You have no idea our tricks and adventures and the things we know and the things we don't know.
There's lots that we don't know,
A lot we don't know.
but
And
we
a
do know
lot of
some.
things we just guess.
Yeah, and they tend to be correct.
Yeah.
Maybe? I don't know.
It's hard to tell.
But anyway,
Yeah.
I was really stressed about these Sydney shows from across the other side of the globe, and they ended up being wonderful.
The next show will be on November 27th, Wednesday, in Perth.
Yeah, and maybe there'll be
So
something, and that's the last show in Australia,
that's the last show in Australia
right?
before they move to, is it Japan? If only we had some sort of device we could look this stuff on
Oh
up
my
on.
gosh, right? I was
I
talking to someone the other day about those PopMart shows, and they were like, if only there has to be someone by you that was taking pictures.
right,
And I'm like, I don't think you understand how you had to sneak a camera in your bra.
right, right.
I don't know how men stuck cameras in, I
I don't
guess in
want
their
to know.
pants. But and then you had to hope security didn't take your camera from you, let
Right.
alone taking video. Oh my gosh. So if you're looking from a picture from 97, you're like, shit out of luck.
Okay,
Oh, but
so
I have this computer that I can look things up on.
right, I just did that. Isn't that fancy? The
You're
next
fast.
show is in Singapore on November 30th, and then a second show on December 1st.
Nice. And this is the
Mhm.
first time they played Singapore?
That is correct. Then they go to Tokyo, which they've played many times, Seoul, which they've never played before, Manila, which they've never played before, and finally Mumbai, which they've never played before.
Yeah, in India. We should talk about that.
We should on our next app.
Yeah.
We'll talk a
Okay.
little bit about that on our next app.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
you
I say
guys.
let's wrap this one up because it made me sad until we started talking about Mr. Kebab.
Yeah, Mr. Kebab saves everything.
Thanks for bringing some joy to this otherwise sad conversation.
Yeah. So we'll talk to you next week because we'll have at least one show. I'm not looking at the calendar again. We'll have some more stuff to talk to you about next week. The
Hey, and
tour's
also
over.
next week we'll have the second half of Joshua Tree, the side B.
Yes. Yes. You guys
Yeah.
are really gonna want to hear that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
quite
so we'll
entertaining.
we'll have two more shows to discuss by next Sunday.
Okay.
We'll have Perth and the first
Singapore.
Singapore show.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
See how
Yep.
that plays out.
Stay tuned.
Okay, good
See you next
night.
week. Good night.
Also, we love hearing from people and chatting with people, and of course, we love talking you too. So you can drop us a line on Instagram or Twitter at _gardentarts, or you can even email us at wearethegardentarts@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you soon. If you enjoy this podcast, we would love it if you would share it with your other YouTube-loving friends, as well as leave a review for us on whatever platform you use to listen to podcasts. We would really, really love that. May your music be loud and your whiskey be strong. Until next time, cheers.